Hey there, this is Alan Seid. I'm here to share some fun information with you and also to extend a special invitation, which I'll do at the end of this video. It's amazing to me that almost 30 years ago, when I was 16 years old, I found myself at a crossroads in my life. I saw that we were destroying our very own life support systems on the planet. We're in the greatest extinction period since the dinosaurs. So not only are we putting our own life support systems in danger, we're taking down a lot of other species with us. And killing a species is not like killing an individual specimen. It's an entire genetic lineage. And the problems of war, famine, pollution, acidification of the oceans, all these trends are not looking very positive. So almost 30 years ago, when I was in my teens, I found myself at this crossroads. I could continue to live unconsciously and continue to be part of the problem, or I could consciously, intentionally choose to be part of the solution. So at that time, I had to ask myself, well, what does that look like? What does the solution look like? And because I didn't know, I decided that my purpose was going to be finding best practices, finding the best tools, processes, methodologies for living in harmony within ourselves, with each other, and with the planet. In that 25 or 30 years, I've come across some really exceptional tools, some of which I teach. And the most powerful among them in the interpersonal realm is a process I came across called nonviolent communication, which I began studying in 1995 with its founder, Marshall Rosenberg. The reason he called it nonviolent communication is because he wanted to align himself with Gandhi's movement of truth-telling and compassion. So that's really what it's about. So with nonviolent communication, or NVC, I've transformed every significant relationship in my life. And I've been a member of so many different groups where I've been able to bring the group to a win-win outcome. And with NVC skills, not only is it easier to resolve conflicts, but we prevent conflicts and misunderstandings to begin with, which ends up really saving us a whole lot of time and energy and heartache later. The purpose of NVC is to create the quality of connection out of which people enjoy spontaneously, contributing to one another's well-being. It's a way of speaking my truth, like sharing my perspective, that's most likely to result in a compassionate response from the other person, and that's most likely to lead to my own needs being met in a way that's in harmony with other people's needs. And on the listening side, it's how to be in the face of blame, judgment, criticism, or some kind of verbal attack, and instead of hearing the verbal attack, I can actually listen for the needs and values of the other person. Therefore, I get less defensive, I don't get bent out of shape, I'm able to stand in a more compassionate place, and therefore I'm able to prevent and resolve misunderstandings and conflicts where before I didn't even have access to that possibility. Because my background was so strongly in ecological sustainability, it was, I think, around my second workshop with Dr. Rosenberg that it really clicked for me how, if as humans we want to really confront issues like climate change, like species extinction, like acidification of the oceans and destruction of the food chain, we're going to be that much more effective at that if we have good collaboration and cooperation tools and skills. So NVC became really a primary tool for me, realizing that species-wide, we need to get really good at cooperation or collaboration if we want to solve some of these bigger issues facing us. And on a personal level, even beyond that, it's just simply more fun. Having collaborative decision-making, even when there's a conflict, approaching it collaboratively and creating win-win outcomes is so much more fun and enjoyable than living in the adversarial, judgmental world anyway. And then on top of that, there's the fact that relationships really are the foundation for anything else. I'm going to pop this slide in here just to give you an example of what I'm talking about. You know, if we want specific results in life, it could be in business, it could be in our relationships, it could be in our projects. We have to take action. And in order for us to know where to take action, we need to know what the opportunities are. And to clarify the opportunities, we need to surface the possibilities. And the foundation of it all is the relationships, because if the relationships are positive and good, then we'll surface the possibilities in our conversation and be able to explore those. But if the relationships are bad, if there's a low quality of connection, or we're not on speaking terms, we're not going to have the conversations to surface the possibilities, to identify the opportunities, to know where we can take action and then see the results in the world. So really the relationships are the foundation for any long-lasting and deeper results that we want in life. I recently had an interaction with a close friend where there was a major disconnect. I mean, I was upset. I was actually crying, and yeah, I was quite upset because I had wanted to be seen and understood for my true intentions, and I thought this person had been misreading my intentions for quite some time, and I was really upset, and we slowed it down. We got to clarify, and fortunately for me, this other person had high-level NVC skills, and we got through this misunderstanding and potential conflict in about half an hour. And I realized afterwards that in my life before I had NVC, it would have taken me a month to work through that misunderstanding or conflict. And just celebrating in such a huge way how much time and energy having those skills has really saved me. This has happened time and time again with my children's mother. Similar, getting through discussions in 15 minutes that before would have taken us 2 or 3 days and ended up really painful. And instead, with the NVC skills, not only getting through them faster, but getting to the other side of the misunderstanding and conflict to a place where we're feeling more connected, there's more mutual understanding, and we're actually closer on the other side of that conflict. Nonviolent communication has given me the tools and the skills to be able to do that on a consistent basis. I want to show you this other slide, this concept called the NVC Tree of Life, which was created by one of my colleagues in Balcashton. And what this image shows is that we have 3 areas in which we can be putting our attention when you're talking about nonviolent communication. One of those areas is how I express myself. The other area is how I'm listening, which we talk about as empathy, empathic listening. And the third area is my connection with myself and how important that self-connection is. So what gets in the way of me being able to be truly honest and authentic and real with you is if I'm totally disconnected. I mean, if I don't know what's going on inside me, how can I possibly articulate it for you and tell you what's going on inside me? And likewise, from the listening side, if what gets in the way of me being really present to you is if I'm too stirred up. If I have too much stuff going on, how can I be as present as the situation might require? So by being really self-connected, I can resolve some of that noise and some of that stuff that's happening inside me. I'm more connected to my needs and what I might want in a situation. I'm more grounded. The emotional tone is less intense. I'm able to be more present. And when I speak, I'm able to be more clear. So that self-connection is home. It's a place where I'm connected to my own power, and it's a place of choice. So from that place, I can choose to express, and then I come back to self-connection. Maybe I choose to listen, but then I come back to self-connection. And all my choices, instead of running on autopilot like we do so often during our day, I can truly be intentional about what am I choosing in this moment. There was a, it's almost embarrassing to share this story, but I'm just going to share it. It's kind of a cool story. I guess what I almost did, if I had done it, would have been really embarrassing, but I was at this event in one of the towns nearby, and it was a public symposium about a proposal that was going to really impact a lot of people, and I was part of this panel that spoke. And just to cut to the chase, at the end of the event, somebody comes up to me, and they're about this far from me, 6 or 8 inches from my face, doing what most of us would call yelling, telling me how my values are destroying the world, telling me how what I stand for is everything getting paved, and everything I stand for is bad and wrong, and the world is going to hell in a handbasket because of me. So what happened as this person was yelling at me that close to me is the first thing that I wanted to do is I wanted to punch him. Yeah, I would have not only created a big scene with, a couple hundred people in the room and ruined my reputation as an NVC trainer. I caught myself. I noticed that I was upset and what was happening inside me, and that I was having this image of hurting this other person. And what I realized is that when one of us lashes out to hurt somebody else, really what we're wanting is understanding, because if I feel some hurt in relation to you, I want you to feel what that feels like. And so I want to lash out to make you hurt so that you know how much I'm hurting. So that deeper need really is empathic understanding. It's for somebody else to really get how much pain we're in. So as soon as I noticed that I wanted to punch this person, I went inside. I connected with myself, like we saw in the tree of life. It's that the trunk and the root of that tree of life is self-connection. So I went inside and I realized I was deeply disappointed because I was wanting connection and a different quality of conversation. And also, I was super irritated because I was wanting understanding. I was wanting to be seen differently. I was wanting to be seen according to how I see myself, according to what I perceive to be my true values and what's important to me. That took about 1.5 seconds to go inside and connect with my needs, and then I was able to be present again. And then I was able to offer him empathy, which sounded something like, so it sounds like you really want me to understand that you really care about the forests and other species, and you care about preserving the river and the fisheries here in this area, and you really don't want to see this proposal go through and what it would do to people's livelihoods and to habitat. Is that right? And he was saying, yeah, and then he would keep going about how I'm part of the problem. And so then I would respond again with more empathy, and actually eventually he just walked away. I could have followed him and pursued the conversation, but out of my own self-connection I chose not to. I think the need at the time might have been conservation of energy. But again, I think this person was either looking for a confrontation, or he walked away because I was playing a game that he didn't know the rules to, and he didn't know how to engage with me at this level of empathy and honesty. And so he ended up walking away instead of hanging in there in the conversation. But simply by doing a very simple, just taking a moment for self-empathy and connecting with what was going on for me, I didn't create a scene, I didn't create a conflict. I mean, around here you can get arrested for assault by punching somebody. So I was really, really grateful to myself for developing the skills to be able to do that. Now, you can do it that quickly with practice. When we first learn, it takes a little bit longer, but it's like anything else. It's like learning to drive a manual transmission car, or it's like learning to play an instrument. At the beginning, it's clunky, it's uncomfortable, we're not good at it, we're self-conscious, we have to think about it. But with practice, it gets easier and easier, and things just flow, and then you're not thinking about it, and you find your attention naturally going to these places. As far as learning nonviolent communication, there are opportunities to do that. I teach courses online. I teach at the international intensive trainings that the Center for Nonviolent Communication puts on. And I also work with people individually, with individuals, couples, families. I do lots of mediation and what sometimes seems like coaching or counseling. However, there's this really cool opportunity coming up. It's a 4-day mini intensive in Washington State at the Whidbey Institute. This is a retreat center that has 100 miles of nature trails. It's in a beautiful location. They serve the most amazing food, literally, really incredible, all locally sourced, organic, and they can pretty much accommodate any dietary preference or limitation. And again, it's a 4-day intensive with a focus on practice and on getting your skills up and really having some discernment of key differentiation so that the conceptual piece is not getting in the way either. It's an opportunity to meet other like-minded people, to practice with other people who have similar values, to be in a learning community with people with shared intentions, to learn these skills, to make a difference in the world, and to be better human beings. This retreat is happening October 12th through 16th. I encourage you to sign up because we do have limited space. I'll put a URL here at the bottom. I'll put a link under the video as well, and I'll tell you the link. It's bit.ly/Blackbelt Retreat, all one string after the slash. So bit.ly/Blackbelt Retreat. Sign up. Come check it out. Please join me. It would be so fun to have you there. The last 2 times we've done the retreat, it's filled up, and we've had an amazing group of people. People coming from as far as Beirut, Lebanon, and Hong Kong, and really, really all over. So it'd be really fun to have you there. And leave me a comment and other questions, because if you want to see other videos like this where I address some of the other tools or answer your questions, that would be really fun. So please do that too, and check it out, bit.ly/Black Belt Retreat. See you there.